In the world of thoughts, there is no morality. There is no right and wrong. It is simply a thought. Morality, sense of right and wrong, ability to choose comes from our ability to be in the present moment. Because present moment represents totality. When you are in the now, the whole universe is there as a mirror to reflect your act, to show what you're doing. But when you're not in the present moment, you are simply in a rabbit hole of thought. You're not aware of anything. You're not aware of your true nature. You're not aware of the nature of the creature you're hurting. You're not aware of the consequences. Even when you're aware of it, your addiction is overpowering it, and you're still going and performing that act. What can change or add more choice, ability to choose, which is the only thing needed? What separates a murderer from everyone else is not the thought, is not the emotion, is the choice to act. That compulsion to act, which is an unconscious process. If that individual can be given a little more space, a little more gap between thought and action, if that individual can pause for 2 seconds longer before acting, it will change the whole scenario. Almost all impulsive acts, with that 1 or 2 seconds of extra space, extra gap, I'm just using seconds as the smallest unit of time. It's not even seconds. It's just a few additional moments you need for the thought process to continue a little further to show the stupidity. But you have acted somewhere in the middle. The thought process is happening. It is showing you the consequences. You are in the right track on how you're supposed to be thinking about this event, but your impulsive nature, your compulsion is so much that you cut that thought out and you act. How often does this happen? It's like you keep thinking, it's like, oh no, this is not right. I should not be doing it. No, this person deserves it. I'm going to go and do it. And you just get up and do it. Now you have acted against your own internal judgment of that action because you could not wait for the thought process to complete. Imagine if all of us could just sit and watch the thoughts and first take the thought to its logical conclusion and then act, which would not take hours or even minutes. It would probably take a few more seconds. That pause that we are anyways exercising, we just need to exercise it a little longer. But that extension of that pause from 1 second to 2 seconds, for it to become internal, for it to be available at all moments, every moment, takes conscious effort. That is what being in the present moment is, coming to the now, exercising your choice to be conscious. When you look at the contrast between thought and consciousness in this way, then it's easier to understand consciousness. It's easier to see the backdrop of consciousness as the unchanging, unmoving, pure awareness, pure reflection of the totality of existence. How do we know this thing exists? Because everything else we experience in life as individuals, as creatures of existence, are fragmented, are divided. There is no oneness there. There is not a single worldly experience that can complete us. If you were to be given a choice and say, you can ask for anything you want, anything, but it has to be something in the world that you can get. Now, what is it that you can ask that can complete you? There's not one thing you can ask. Ask for all the money in the world. Ask for all the love and recognition and everything. Still, you're not complete. Your search doesn't end. Because what you're searching for is yourself. You're not searching for recognition. You're not searching for love. You're not searching for name and fame and money. These are all things the mind is searching for its own pleasure seeking, which is fine. Which there is no problem with that. That is the game of life we play on the outside. But that is not what we are actually searching. That is our deception. We are addicted to that deception. We are addicted to life. We have to accept this. When we say, I love life, what does that mean? I am addicted to life. I am addicted to living. That is why I'm addicted to suffering as well. Otherwise, this choice is pretty simple. You will have to step away from all your dreams and desiring, because that is what creates the pain. Desire is pain eventually, because when you have a desire, you have to work towards getting there. More often than not, you will not even get there. So the whole process is about desiring and failing and failing and failing. So if you were to simply pause and just reflect on this thought process, you're like, why am I doing this? I'm unnecessarily torturing myself. But you will still do it. Why? Because we are addicted to life. That's the heart of the matter. We are addicted to living. We are addicted to the game of pain and pleasure. We are addicted to the game of light and darkness. We are addicted to the game of excitement and boredom. We want to be swinging. We don't like calmness. We don't like peace. We don't like simple, seamless oneness of existence. We are addicted to movement, change, activity. That is what life is. And that's where pain comes from as well. But once we know it, then it's easy to understand human motive and actions, and also fundamentally what consciousness is. It is to be conscious. It is aliveness. It is being. And to exercise the choice to be, you cannot do it any other way other than from being. It is only by practicing how to be that you can be. You cannot practice being any other way. You cannot practice being by thinking about being, by planning, plotting, by imagining. You just have to be. That is why the whole process of coming to the now is different. You need a right environment, you need the right guidance. And everything, all the learnings put together, discipline, focus, just to put a little bit of gap between your thought and action, so that your thoughts don't determine the course of your life. Your thoughts should only determine the course of the game that you play. The nature of that game, that's it. But it should not be intrinsically tied to your identity. What you're doing, what you're accomplishing in the world, your success or failure, whatever it might be, that cannot be and should not be intrinsically tied to the identity called me or you. That has to be a different process. So when you fall in the world, you fall for that moment as that ego, as that expression of life, but not as you. Because your identification should be more with the you, the consciousness, than the ego. Then the suffering reduces. You will still continue to do things because that's addiction. I mean, waking up in the morning itself is an addiction. In the world of thoughts, you get attached to certain thoughts, and you get attached more and more and more to a point where it just feels real. That is what waking up is. You are still dreaming, you are still asleep, but the addiction to a part of that dream is so strong that it just feels like real when it's happening. After it passes, what happened to the last 10 minutes? It's gone. What happened to yesterday? It's gone. It's just in the dream. What happened to this now? The moment you start thinking about it, it's gone. That is how flimsy, that is how ephemeral the movement of life is. It is just moment to moment to moment. That's it. But because we are addicted to it, we have created our own language to describe this experience. We have created our own system of remembering things and solidifying this experience. And we do it in all forms of ways to solidify, oh, this is me, this is my life. We do it through name. Imagine if I took away your name. Something as simple as, from tomorrow you will not have a name. Immediately something changes. If you don't have a name, then all the associations and connections and the web that you have created simply drops. Just your name. But what is name? It is just an arbitrary thing we have assigned for ourselves to identify. And yet, in the world, that name is everything. That's the difference between the internal reality and the external delusion or illusion of reality. It is tied to ideas, name, form, what you want to accomplish, whatever it is you want to accomplish in the world. It could even be enlightening someone. It could even be awakening someone. It's because you're addicted to that thought, you are exercising it. Otherwise, if you have found it, you just sit quiet. You enjoy that bliss. Why torture yourself in trying to awaken someone else? All enlightened beings have gone through this. Not all, most of them. Once they find something, they want to share it. One guy did it 2000 years ago. He could have kept quiet. I found it. It's so fantastic. It's so wonderful. Why did he have to run out of that cave and say, the kingdom of heaven is here? And he was killed because of that. It's an addiction. Mind is an addiction. Desire to connect, desire to help, desire to share, desire to do things in the world is an addiction. Doesn't mean that this guy didn't know the consequences of his actions. It's there in the scriptures, in the recordings. Jesus is fully aware that he's in trouble. He knows he's a troublemaker. He knows that it's only a matter of time before the disturbance will be too much. A 30-year-old man knows the consequences of going into a temple and not only questioning the authorities verbally, but also physically doing things. He did it. An enlightened man, a realized man, fully aware of himself. Still he did that. Why? Because once the mind takes over, that's the addiction. And for him, the addiction would have been absolute because now he has truth and his own experience of consciousness, seeing the stupidity of people more clearly. Now in his mind, where he was right, his act was the cleansing of the nonsense that has already happened. But from the point of view of the people, he's the nonsense. He's the disturbance. In his mind, the disturbance is being created by these people. When this place should be used for prayer and meditation, it is just a marketplace. They have forgotten their true purpose. They are seeking momentary pleasure, and they have forgotten how to be in the now. And because he's gone through that experience, he knows what consciousness is. He can see it so clearly, and he's just acting to cleanse it. He could not have avoided it. He could not have said, oh, this is the nature of the world. What do I have to do with it? I have found it. Let me keep it to myself. He's too young, and he's still too much in the world of thoughts to not act on that thought of compassion. Now, if you look at it, the seed for all the violence that happened to him, all the brutality that happened to him, the seed was in his love, in his compassion. That is the brutal truth of life. The source of all that pain, all that suffering for him was love. The starting point, and that is why it is very hard to forget him. People turn and toss and do all kinds of things, but when they come to him as an individual, there's a connectivity. Because what he was wanting to do was aligned with consciousness. It was pure. It is an act that is accepted. The mirror of his consciousness saw that act and it approved it. Something is going wrong, go fix it. But from the other point of view, those individuals who did not have enough gap between their thought and action, who had not spent enough time exercising their choice to think through things, the moment he said, my kingdom is not of this world, instead of pausing and trying to understand what that means, they immediately acted on it because they had power. Or that means you do recognize that you're a king. So which means you are a rebel. So natural consequences, you have to be crucified. It's a very simple thing.